Hey, beautiful people. So the last several weeks have been pretty rough. The histamine got me bad. So honestly, even though this experience was not enjoyable at all, has not been enjoyable, I'm actually really happy it happened to me because I can sit here and educate you and educate other people about my experience, how it happened, what happened. Because as I was learning about histamine and reading up more about how some women's symptoms are during perimenopause, it really got me thinking, like, I wonder how many women are actually experiencing a severe histamine issue on top of fluctuating estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. I mean, the thing about the histamine dump, which I will go into detail shortly, is a lot of the symptoms do mimic the typical perimenopause symptoms. But if you're new here, my name is Vanessa Dyer. I'm a holistic dietitian helping women in perimenopause navigate it successfully so they can feel better, be happy, and enjoy life. And before I get started, it's important to note that our bodies are constantly changing. Because I always hear like, oh, I used to eat this all the time, or I used to do this all the time and not have any problems. Listen, I became lactose intolerant when I was like, I think I was like 24, 25. Broccoli was one of my favorite vegetables, but up until like a few years ago, I can't eat it. I can't eat a lot of cruciferous, pretty much all the cruciferous vegetables I cannot eat, except for one that I know of right now. Our bodies are constantly changing, and food that you've been eating every day for several years or for almost all your life can just all of a sudden turn on you. So that's just something to keep in mind. What I knew about histamine during perimenopause is like when women are experiencing the hives and like the itchy skin, the allergy-like symptoms like runny nose, dry eye, even brain fog sometimes can be a histamine issue. So I had no idea that histamine can do other things to your body like this. And I'm not diagnosing anybody. I'm just talking about my experience, just in case you've had a similar experience or you know someone that's had a similar experience. So first, I'm going to talk about my symptoms day by day. The first 4 days, it was first 4 days straight of horrible, horrific symptoms. Then I'm going to talk about how I put myself in a histamine dump, and not once, but twice. Yes, I put myself in a histamine dump twice. And the protocol that I put myself on that I'm currently doing as I record this video, and I thankfully have energy to record this video because I feel pretty good today. I do have my notes here on my computer because I don't want to miss anything. It is a lot of information. I'll try to keep everything as organized as possible. I do have some stuff out here that I'm going to show you that I'm taking, talk about everything that I'm taking, that I'm eating, that I'm doing lifestyle-wise, because it's not just food. It's also other stuff that goes into it that I'll get started. So first, June 1st, which was a Monday, that night, two different things happened that were really out of the ordinary for me. First thing is I was feeling warm. Now, anyone that knows me knows that I'm always cold. Like, I'm always complaining about, oh my God, I'm so cold. It's so cold in here. Like, I'm the type of person that's fine at 77 Fahrenheit above. Like, my husband keeps it at 75 and I'm like, oh, it's so cold in here. I'm cold. I realized that like I had normal body temperature and I was like, I'm kind of warm. And my husband's like, what? Like, did I just hear that correctly? And it's time for bed. I try to go to sleep and I'm like, sleeping, trying to sleep, turning. And I'm like, I can't sleep. Like, I can't go to sleep. And I'm like, is the melatonin working up? Like, what? And it was just weird because if anything, like I've been sleeping my best, like the last couple of months, like I haven't just been sleeping good. I've been sleeping my best. So I was like, what is happening? Like, this is not a cortisol issue because cortisol typically wakes people up in the middle of the night. And I'm like, I don't understand. And actually, I did take a nap that day. So I just assumed, oh, maybe I can't sleep because I took a nap during the day because something had happened that woke me up in the middle of the night. My husband was snoring, but I've taken naps during the day before and I've never had issues going to sleep. So I was like, okay, whatever. So Tuesday morning comes around, and that Tuesday morning I was actually meeting my friend for quiche and tea. Well, she got coffee, I got tea. And I thought it was really weird that I was anxious. And I'm like, now I do have some social anxiety, but I've met this person. I've known this person for over a year. it's not my first time meeting up with this person. Like, this person's my friend. There was really no reason for me to have social anxiety. And also, I'm going to be talking about digestive things. I forgot to mention that. So if that's TMI for you, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about my digestion. So I had an anxious, like, when you get, some people get really anxious, they might have an anxious shit. So like, I had an anxious shit. And I thought that was so weird. And I was like, okay. Because, nervous system and the gut is super connected. And I'm going to talk more about that later. And so I thought that was weird. I remember even meeting up with my friend. I'm like, I didn't think I was going to make it. I thought I was going to have to cancel on you because I weirdly couldn't sleep. It was so weird. And I had anxiety like that whole day. It was really weird. Yes. So again, that night I couldn't sleep. Fourth symptom came around. So the first thing was I couldn't sleep. I was like regular body temperature, like everyone else, which is not normal for me. I was anxious. And then the fourth symptom came around that night is my mind was super active. So it wasn't just the fact that my mind was active. It was giving me these disturbing, weird images. It's like I was being forced to watch a really bad movie, like a disturbing movie that was just really bad. And I was like, what in the world? And I've had maladaptive daydreaming before, like when I was like in high school, and this was not it. I was like, I don't know what's going on. This is weird. And I was wired. I forgot. So I'm so happy I wrote my notes here because it was just so much. And I was like, there's no way I can just remember everything. I was wired. Like, even though I was tired, I was wired. And that was Wednesday morning. I still had a little bit of anxiety. My stomach was bothering me. I had I want to say I had diarrhea the whole day, but my stomach was bothering me that whole day. And I'm like, I don't think it was the quiche, but that night, my stomach was killing me. I was upset. That is the night also I started to have muscle spasms. So I was having these aggressive muscle spasms, like someone was shocking me, and then my teeth started chattering. And that's when I was like, okay, something is actually wrong. That is when I was like getting really scared. Really, Wednesday in the middle of the night, so like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., like 5 a.m., no sleep. So it was actually Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday early morning. I didn't get any sleep, maybe 30 minutes. And so Thursday morning, I'm crying, I'm panicking. My poor husband, his stomach is in a knot. He's like, I'm going to go to the store later on my lunch break and get you Unisom. So let me go back. So yeah, Thursday, I was crying all day. I also started feeling nauseous. My muscles are still spazzing. My teeth are still chattering. Not from the cold, from the muscle spasms. And I was getting these, almost like hot flashes. I'm so happy that my supervisor is so understanding. I just sent her a quick email. I was like, I'm taking today off and tomorrow off. I'm sick. I'm just like, I'm sick. That night, I was actually able to sleep for about 5 hours. I'm going to tell you what I did. And actually, the Unisom did nothing. So when my husband's like, I'm going to get you Unisom, I looked up what it was. And I was like, oh, it's an antihistamine. But before that, the whole day, and I reached out to my amazing friends. And first of all, I actually forgot to say, sorry. Thank you to all my amazing friends that have been so supportive during this and checking in with me and just And my beautiful husband has been so supportive because I was really sick. Such my friend who is into, she's a somatic coach, but she's also into the wellness space. And I knew she would she would relate to what I was going through. And so we're messaging throughout the whole day. I decided to put my critical thinking dietitian hat on. And I'm like, okay, something happened Monday that triggered all of this because, like I said before, I was sleeping. Everything was fine before. I put my critical thinking hat on and I was like, oh, fuck. I've been eating too many fermented foods. And my friend left me a voice note saying, it sounds like you're having some MCAS symptoms. Now, if you're not familiar with MCAS stands for mast cell activation syndrome. The mast cells are what release histamine in your body. And that's actually what my friend has. So she was like super helpful. I'm going to buy her dinner when she's available. But I was like, oh my God, fuck. I was like, Courtney, I've been eating too many fermented foods. Now, I'm going to tell you when I say too many, I'm going to tell you what I was doing because it was excessive. And that's why I said your food can turn on you. Things that are healthy, because I was telling one of my fellow Pilates student, people that go to Pilates one day, like what happened, like what I was doing, what I was eating. And she's like, oh, but those are all healthy foods. It doesn't matter. Like there's nutrients and things in foods that some people's body just doesn't like. Lectins, histamine, tyramine, solanine, salicylates, different things that some people's bodies just like, I want to cause problems if you eat this. Now, I've been eating yogurt since, I don't know, before kindergarten. It's one of my favorite foods. And as I became an adult, I just like have been eating it every day since. So yogurt is something that I've been eating almost like every day for a very long time. Now, if anyone knows, I think one of my videos I released was a ferment with me video. I got into fermented foods, like deep into fermented foods, sometime around last year, and I can't remember, and I hate that I didn't write it down. But I was eating, say, sometime maybe around March of this year, I added a fermented ferment for breakfast, and it was so good. But it was fermented beet, shredded beet, apple, pear, cinnamon sticks, delicious. I was having like maybe like a quarter cup of that pretty much every morning for 2 months. I'll say like 2.5 months. I got into making kraut. So I was making this red cabbage with ginger and apple. And that I actually only had a few times a month when I specifically made a specific meal prep item. It's like only had that in my salad when I was making, when I ate a bolognese pasta thing. So it wasn't every day like the fermented vegetable fruit blend I made for breakfast. And on top of that, yogurt. And then on top of that, I got this probiotic cottage cheese. And that actually was not every day because the store didn't always have it. But yeah. Now, you're probably asking me, why the heck was I eating all this fermented food? Why was I obsessed with fermented foods? So I have a lot of childhood trauma, PTSD. And one of my main focuses, actually, in addition to eating for my hormones, is actually eating for my brain. If you have anything that causes emotional dysregulation, like PTSD, childhood trauma, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, anything that just affects the way that your brain functions from someone who doesn't have that, if you go into perimenopause like that, fluctuating estrogen and progesterone can make that like 10 times worse. So my main focus was, I'm going to eat for my hormones. I'm going to eat for my brain because I really want to protect my brain. And also when we go through menopause, it increases our risk for dementia. And I was like, I don't want that. I already knew I had those issues, but I'm like, I don't want it to be worse when I enter like the climax of perimenopause. So I was eating for my brain, like blueberries every day, which I still do, purple foods as much as I can, omega-3, DHA, EPA, ALA, which all protect the brain, magnesium, protein rich, like B vitamins, like making sure I do what I can, as well as other lifestyle stuff. And I got like really into learning more about mental health. I remember I did this amazing webinar about like both bipolar disorder, nutrition interventions for bipolar disorder, 3 or 4 webinars this year alone about nutrition and mental health. And everyone was talking about fermented foods and short chain fatty acids and how the fermented foods create short chain fatty acids in your gut, and that can stimulate neurotransmitter activity, like serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, like all those good feel good things. And so that's how I really got in. That's how I just kind of went overboard with the fermented foods. It was fun, and I really liked creating it. And I wanted to try different flavor profiles because I remember before I kept failing. I was trying to ferment celery with garlic and parsley, and it just wasn't working. And I was like, I really want this to work. So then I went to the kraut, and it just came out so beautifully. So that Monday, June 1st, I just pretty much created the perfect histamine dump storm. So on top of the fermented foods, and the reason why fermented foods are so high in histamine is because they're the bacteria that breaks down the protein and everything that creates the probiotics also creates histamine. So fermented foods and aged foods, which tend to have bacteria like the aged cheeses, Parmesan, Gouda. I have a beautiful goat Gouda in there. I'm probably going to give this away because it's about to expire. It's so good. I can't eat it. Are high in histamine. So that Monday, I created the perfect histamine storm of fermented foods. So I had the breakfast ferment. I had made a lentil chili. I did half lentils, half gardein, and that was half gardein, the vegan veggie crumbles. And that was actually my first time doing that. I just wanted to try it because food is getting so expensive and I can't eat red meat anymore. So that is high in histamine. So the veggie crumbles is high in histamine. Lentils, well, the way that I actually prepare lentils, I found out is actually it lowers the risk of them being histamine liberators by soaking them, rinsing them several times, helps remove the lectins, which are histamine liberators, meaning that it can release histamine from your mast cells. And I was eating also, I put smoked paprika and cumin in my chili. Those are histamine liberators. And I had the kraut at night, and then I put cinnamon in my yogurt. Cinnamon is a histamine liberator, and I'm pretty sure I had chocolate that day too. Chocolate is a histamine liberator. So it was just, and then walnuts. I put walnuts in my yogurt. So yeah, it was just a perfect storm. I actually forgot that so let me go all the way back to that Thursday. So that was what, June 4th. So that night I took the Unisom, but the Unisom, what it's supposed to do is make you drowsy, and it's supposed to it crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it's supposed to, stop histamine from making your brain so aroused. It did nothing for me but make me drowsy. So I'm laying there, drowsy, but my mind is like still keeping me awake. And that's just to show you like how much histamine was just floating around in my body, and I'm sitting there twitching with my muscle spasms. And that Thursday night actually was terrifying because I got woken up. It was actually around 2:14 a.m. I won't ever forget it because that's how horrifying it was for me. 2:14 a.m. So actually that would be Friday morning. In my head, it's still Thursday night, but yeah, technically it's Friday morning. The intense body tremor woke me up from my sleep. So I actually ended up going to sleep. It was around, I want to say it was around like, I think it was around like 1 a.m. I think it was around like 1 a.m. It lasted for about like 6 seconds, but it was terrifying because it was just like my body was just being electrocuted without the pain. So I guess kind of like a seizure. And it took me 5 days my body 5 days to recover from that 6-second tremor because my body was so sore. I felt like I ran for 10 miles and I didn't. Like, I will never forget that. So I was actually, the reason why I was able to sleep Thursday, I did somatic exercises from my beautiful friend Courtney gave me some video. I did somatic exercises and I was doing restorative yoga pretty much the entire day. The histamine really aggravates your nervous system. It makes you so on edge. Like when I was reading about other people's symptoms, someone reported like feeling like this impending doom. And I was like, I totally feel her because my anxiety was so high and I couldn't stop crying. And yeah, it was wild. So let me get into the second histamine dump. I'm just going to read my notes here. So yeah, I went 12 days straight. I was able to sleep. I only avoided the fermented foods for like 6 days. I felt great. Like I felt really good. And before feeling great, you feel like shit because when the histamine is like the inflammation and the histamine leaves your body, I was telling people I felt like a half-eaten pickle that was thrown in the trash. I mean, I felt like crap. It is horrible. And then like for me, I had the brain fog after. Like, so some people have really bad headaches, migraines, brain fog during like the histamine overload, but I had it after just from all that inflammation. And it's like the histamine kind of gives you this weird high because it makes you so alert. So even though I didn't sleep for 3 days straight, I was super awake, alert. I had all this energy, but it was just like freaking out, like it was weird. So coming down from that, you're just like, oh my God. But then I felt great. I felt so great. It made me cocky. And I was dancing around, twerking. I had yogurt. I had tomatoes. I had avocado. I had walnuts in my yogurt. And I had dark chocolate. And that night, that night. And that was a Tuesday. I think that was the 13th. Yeah, that was the 13th. That was a Saturday. Oh, that was the 16th, excuse me. So that was the 16th. I'm laying there. I'm like, I can't really sleep. And I'm a little warm. I was like, oh, fuck. But the second time I put myself in the dump, it actually really wasn't that bad. Like the symptoms weren't so crazy. Week, and like actually I have my histamine journal on my phone that I'm using to record. So let me just pull up a calendar here so I can remember the days. So that was Tuesday the 16th. Yeah, so I didn't sleep that night, didn't sleep the next night, but I was able to sleep on the 18th, like a full 9 hours. And then I didn't sleep on the 19th, on that Friday, which I figured out why. I have it all written down. So symptoms that week weren't as bad. So like I only got like, so instead of like the first week where I got like 30 minutes of sleep, that second dump, I couldn't sleep, but I couldn't sleep until later. So I actually fell asleep around, funny enough, the time that most women wake up in the middle of the night when they have perimenopause, around 3 a.m. So I got like 3-4 hours of sleep. Muscle spasms weren't as bad. And I'm actually still having muscle spasms, but they've significantly decreased. Like, oh my God. So I was still having muscle spasms, but no tremors and actually no wacky images. I was just really awake until around like 3-4 a.m. My stomach was messed up pretty much the entire month of June. I had a normal bowel movement on like Saturday, the 27th. But I actually forgot to mention like another symptom because I think my notes are kind of out of thing here. Things were bothering me that never bothered me. Like the texture of my pillow, I was like, ugh. And then the like little fuzzies on my blanket, I was like, this feels weird on my body. I don't want it on my body. And like certain things that like my husband watches like YouTube when he brushes his teeth. And like, I was like, can you turn that off? Because I'm like, it's weirdly bothering me. Like it was just weird. Like it was like a weird buzzing in my ears. I'm going to finally talk about the protocol I put myself on that I'm still on. It was going to be 4 weeks, but I accidentally aggravated my gut last weekend eating a mild food sensitivity that was like amplified. So my mild food sensitivities now are not mild. They're like amplified. So all of them are high. So I re-aggravated like my stomach last week. And so I might just go another week. So it'll be a total of 5 weeks on this protocol. The histamine protocol, like a histamine diet, is extremely restrictive. So, and then if you're someone like me who already is limited with what they can eat, it can be very, very restrictive and it puts you at a high risk for nutritional deficiencies. So that's why the histamine diet protocol is intended to be like 4 to 6 weeks. It's not supposed to be long term. The goal is to lower your histamine. My friend mentioned that it's like a histamine bucket. So you want to empty out your bucket, get it to a level where it's not causing you all these freaky symptoms, regulate and force your mast cells, and then figure out what the cause is. So I figured out that with all the fermented foods I was adding in, on top of drinking green tea with my breakfast every morning for past few years, 5 years maybe, tea and coffee block the enzyme needed to break down histamine. So doing that over the course of years and adding in the most recent like fermented foods over the past several months, I created, unfortunately, dysbiosis in my tummy. Histamine protocol itself, like 5 weeks. But fixing my gut is going to take much longer. I don't see myself eating fermented foods or aged foods probably until maybe January. Which anyone knows me, you're probably like, oh my God, that's crazy, because I'm such a foodie. And like I said, I've been eating yogurt, I feel like, since I was before kindergarten. It's one of my favorite foods, but I'll be okay. So first things first is I got a specific probiotic, a very specific probiotic. So this is called Bifidobacterium BB536. So yeah, it's very specific. It's numbered. This probiotic actually breaks down the histamine in your gut. And there's other probiotics too, but like I just had such a hard time finding like the specific numbers on them. So like Lactobacillus plantarum is another one. Most of the lactobacilli create histamine in the gut, but not all of them. So the plantarum breaks it down. This is Bifidobacterium longum, breaks it down. And then there's some others, but like this one specifically has a lot of research done on it. So right now, this is the second week because I felt like it wanted to take its sweet time getting in the mail. Probably that fourth week, I'm going to start taking 2 because this is a low dose and you don't want to just introduce a buttload of bacteria to your gut. You always want to start off small. So I appreciate that this is a small dose. So this is 2 billion CFUs, stands for colony forming units. That's how probiotics are labeled. I'll be taking this for a while, like the end of the year, for a very long time, because yeah, it's bad in my gut right now. So yeah, all those fermented foods I was eating, acidophilus, so lactobacillus acidophilus, I believe rhamnosus as well. Let me go grab my yogurt. Okay. Grab my favorite yogurt and actually just kept it in here for this video. It's like they're very expired. Okay, so so good. So this is the yogurt I have every night with blueberries and walnuts and cinnamon. It was so delicious. So Streptococcus thermophilus, Lactobacillus bulgaricus, Lactobacillus acidophilus, and Paracasey all create histamine in your gut. The only one in here that doesn't is the Bifidobacterium. So hopefully next year I can resume eating this because it's so freaking delicious and it's my favorite. Stopped taking my vaginal probiotic because it's full of lactobacilli bacteria, which the vagina thrives on, like 9 different strains. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to stop taking this for a while. Another thing is, this is the enzyme. It's called diamine oxidase. This is the enzyme that your gut typically excretes to help digest or break down, helps break down the histamine in your gut. It's intended to be taken with meals. So during this protocol that I'm doing, I'm taking it with all my meals. So 3 times a day, because this is not cheap. This is like $30 supplement. And you only get 60 in here. This is my second bottle. Got this on Amazon. This is Life Extension diamine oxidase enzyme. And you take it about 20 minutes before you eat. So what I do is I take it, I set a timer on my phone, and then I know I can go heat up my food. And another thing why I definitely take this is because I meal prep. When you go on the histamine protocol, it's highly recommended that you freeze your leftovers. And I'm going to be honest, I don't do that because 1, there's no room in the fridge. And 2, I have been meal prepping for over 10 years. I'm in such a routine that I'm not going, oh my God, I have to thaw out my food. I forgot to thaw out my food. I didn't want to worry about that. I haven't had any issues with that specifically, like increasing my histamine. This is actually from pea sprout powder. So this is vegan. I believe the other one is from pig or bovine. I think it's from bovine. So if you want a vegan one, the Life Extension is vegan. The other things I'm doing besides the probiotic and the enzyme is, this is actually, vitamin C is actually something that I was taking anyway, so that wasn't a problem. I just was being more consistent with it and taking the full serving, which is 1,000, actually it's 1,100 milligrams. So 1.1 gram. Vitamin C is something, it's a ingredient needed to make the DAO enzyme. So another thing that I'm doing, and I mix this with my magnesium powder because this is a powder. Because anyone that knows me knows I have such a hard time swallowing pills. And actually this is chewable. So, and it's so tiny. The thing that I'm doing is I am eating red onions every day. So red onions are rich in an antioxidant called quercetin. So quercetin is an antioxidant that also helps greatly regulate your mast cells. And I just been putting that in my food, either lunch or dinner. It's mostly been on my lunch meal. But I just saute them, caramelize them. One time I caramelized it with garlic. It was so good with some salt, and I put that on top of some chicken that I made. And I made like a caramelized red onion sauce. But yeah, I've been eating red onions every day since June 18th. And then like the red onions have more quercetin than the white onions. But white onions like is something that I might eat every day, but not all the time, and it wasn't really that much. Because I do cook with onions, but not all the time. Like, it's not always in like every meal that I'm making. Another thing is, so yeah, I don't drink green tea anymore. And I know people who know me are like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, I'm such a tea aficionado. So I'm actually drinking mint tea in the morning, and I actually really like that. It's been mint tea every morning since June 18th. Oh, I almost forgot CBD. CBD is well known for regulating and protecting your mast cells. I'm taking it morning and night. So I've always taken this. I've been taking this the past 3 years now. This is the SunMed water soluble, so it's fast acting. I take this every morning. It just helps with any anxiety and like mental clarity, and helps me actually focus as well. But I just got a like stronger one. So I've been doing that, and I have a subscription because this is not cheap at all. It is not cheap. The sleep CBD is something that I had gotten a while ago, but I wasn't really taking it all too much because I took this to put me in like a deeper sleep. Because like I said before, I wasn't having any issues with sleeping. I needed something that put me in a deep sleep so my husband snores and wake me up. And it was, I didn't really see it, but I actually realized that I was taking it wrong for me. So on the bottle, it says, well, actually, it doesn't even say on the bottle. It says on the website, because here it just says take 1 ml under the tongue at night. But if you go to the website, actually, I don't know why it says different things on the website. That's kind of annoying. Website, it actually says take 30 minutes before bed. I actually take this about 2 hours and like at 90, I would say 90 to 120 minutes before bed. And it actually works better for me. The first week or 2 weeks that I was doing this protocol, I realized how sensitive my gut was. My God, because usually I'll have my evening snack at like 8 o'clock. I couldn't eat past like 6. Histamine receptors in your gut that tell your body to release stomach acid. I was having such horrible like indigestion, and yeah, I lost like 3 pounds since doing this protocol because I'm not eating my normal way, and I'm not eating my like evening snack. But now I'm able to eat a little bit later, and I'm okay. Losing weight is, for me, is not good. Like, I don't want to lose weight. I don't want to. So this is specifically a sleep CBD, but I probably can just get whatever CBD. And I've actually taken this at night before, and it was okay until I realized, I'm like, oh, let me just take this a lot earlier than what it says. Because this is an oil. Fats take longer to digest. So if you're taking it 30 minutes before bed, and we go to bed at 10 p.m., that's your stomach acid is going to be secreting late at night. And so that was really bothering me and just triggering things. And yeah, it took me a while. I was like, wait, I need to take this earlier. I say also, sorry, I do take non-THC CBD. The THC for me gives me a really bad headache in the morning, because SunMed had given me a sample of some sleep gummies that had THC in it, and it worked stronger, but I was like, oh my God, my head. And I had contacted customer service, and I go, that's the THC. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine with me. I'll just stop taking it. So another thing that I have been doing since June 18th is actually restorative yoga with some nice calming music 20 minutes before bed every night. Because like I said, the histamine can really it's like a cheese grater on your nervous system, and can make it really aggravated. So it's really important to regulate your nervous system when you're doing a histamine diet and protocol, not just changing your food and taking things out. You really need to regulate your nervous system. Another thing I did is, so I do drink tea every night. Herbal tea that's supposed to be calming and stuff like that. Because like I said, I do have, some anxieties, and 2 teas I typically rotate. And there's 1 tea that I was drinking like all the time. And then this other tea that's, of course, more expensive is the one that I've been drinking every night. It has skull cap in it. Skull cap is known for, it's called a natural antihistamine, but it's known for mast cell regulation. Stinging nettle is another one that people actually use for when it's allergy season. The first 2 weeks I was doing the protocol, no gluten, no dairy, no gluten was easy for me because I'm gluten Monday through Friday anyways. If I have gluten, it's on the weekends, but I didn't have any gluten on the weekends. Yeah, anyone that knows me knows I bake every weekend. I have not baked. And my husband is so supportive. He's like, I'm not going to have a cookie if you can't have a cookie. So no dairy. But for me, my body needs the extra lysine, which comes from dairy. And I can't eat a lot of most of the plant-based sources of calcium. So there is some dairy that recommended to that is considered safe, like a safe food. That's the best word to use. Mozzarella and ricotta and cottage cheese. But the thing with the cottage cheese is the one that I tried to buy is full of gums. My body hates gums. Xanthan gum, guar gum, locust bean gum. So I haven't had any cottage cheese, but I have had mozzarella like every other day. And I bought this milk. So let me go grab the milk. So my husband and I went on a milk quest to find this milk. And I had some today. I actually mixed it. I did half of this milk, half my soy milk. One of the things that I'm struggling with, is getting calcium because, like I said, most of the plant-based sources of calcium I can't eat. My body doesn't like, I can't tolerate. So I'm really worried about my bones and my period because when I had my period not too long ago, oh my God, it was so bad. I had to use a heat pad, and I can't remember the last time I used a heat pad. I think it was I think it's been like a decade. So because I'm not eating my normal. So I got lactose-free A2 milk. So A2 milk, if you're not familiar with A2 milk, so most dairy is A1, which is the type of protein molecule, the type of casein. A1 is a known inflammatory. So the things during the protocol is lowering your inflammation. And if you have inflammation is part of your immune system. So if you're inflamed, your mast cells are going to release histamine. So, and like I said, dairy food is rich in lysine, which my body needs extra of. And so, I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. So anyways, I found this A2 milk. We got it yesterday. I had it today. A2 is less inflammatory than A1, and I'm lactose intolerant, so I needed to get this. Very grateful that this milk exists. I really bought it for the calcium and the potassium and the lysine. I've actually been drinking for the most part every day, for the most part every day, even when my stomach was upset, because this actually made my stomach feel so good. Because I put ginger in it. But I made an anti-inflammatory smoothie that I'm going to share with you because it's really delicious. My husband gagged at the smell, but he's like, hey, if you like it, that's fine. I was able to find a citrus-free juice. I was so surprised. Citrus is a histamine liberator. So let me step back. I can only have coconut water if it's in a smoothie, because I'm sorry for people that like coconut water, but I hate the taste of coconut water. And like I said, I was really worried about not getting certain nutrients. So potassium was another one that I was worried about not getting enough of because I'm not eating avocados or tomatoes or my yogurt, which were all my potassium sources. And I was like, okay, I can make a smoothie, put kale in it that has some calcium, potassium in there. But coconut water is a great source of potassium. But I'm like, I need to mix it with something because I'm like, it's going to be too strong. So I was like, okay, well, I can't mix it with orange juice because of the liberator. I don't like apple juice, and I'm not even a fan of juice. This is actually the first time in a very long time since I've had juice, like probably 15 years, a very long time. I was like, I need a juice. And so thank you, Whole Foods. They have, and it just happens to be an immune blend, which I find funny, but this juice does not have any orange or lemon or lime. It's purple carrot, beet, apple, cherry, blueberry, elderberry, and echinacea. And I was like, how lucky am I? Very expensive. It's like $6. But I do like half of this, half coconut water, bunch of frozen blueberries, frozen kale, and like ginger that's like the size of this part of my thumb. When my stomach is fine, I add chia seeds, not plain. I always soak them in water first. Get a little bit of omega-3 that way, and calcium, because chia seeds are high in omega-3 and calcium. So I added back chia seeds in my diet. I haven't had them in a long time because they usually make me bloated. But then when I was thinking about it, I was like, at the time I was trying to introduce chia seeds in my diet a long time ago. I was not eating the same way. Probably did not introduce them the right way, which is a small amount at a time, soaked in water or some type of liquid. So far it's been good. So when my stomach is fine, I add the soaked chia seeds, like a tablespoon and a half. And it tastes so good. It makes my stomach feel so good because of the ginger. Turmeric, I've been trying to add that in. Like I tried making a chia seed pudding with turmeric because I'm like, I need something when I'm done with this protocol for my evening snack. Still don't like chia seed pudding. So, and I've been when I can, I'll add turmeric to my food, but like I actually made turmeric potatoes this week. Slow movements, which is fine because I mostly do my workouts tend to be slowish anyways. So when I work out, when I have the energy and I'm not triggering anything, I do slow movements only. So Mondays typically are Pilates. There's been like 3 classes I didn't go to because my stomach was a mess. It's like 2 days, 3 days I was able to work out here, and I just did very slow movements because cardio releases histamine in your body. So I haven't danced around or done like any intense cardio in a very long time. The muscle spasms, like so far, what is it? 3 p.m. I haven't had any muscle spasms so far. So I said I still do have the muscle spasms, but it might be like just a couple of days, and it just feels like someone's like gently poking me. It's very gentle, not aggressive. So it has gotten significantly better since the beginning of June. And I'm done with my protocol. I'm going to slowly add in my liberators and I have my journal on my phone, but I'm going to make a much more detailed like Excel sheet, Google sheet on my computer. When I eat something, I'm going to highlight it so I can see how many days go by, but it's going to be such a small amount at a time. So like I miss my avocado. So I have like an avocado and then like wait at least like 5, maybe 7 days before I have something else. But yeah, it's been chaotic. Like I said, thank you for my friends and my husband that's been so supportive because I just only have energy to work my part-time job. And I'm so happy I work from home because there's no way I could have gotten into my car and driven a vehicle, especially that first week. I had no sleep. There was no way. So I'm very excited to get back into working out, making videos, and just recuperating and getting my gut back to where it needs to be. But if you have any questions, let me know. If you had a histamine dump, let me know. If you suspect you're having a histamine dump, you can on a histamine protocol. But another thing is like if you're having like really bad symptoms and you feel like you need to go to the hospital, go to the hospital. Because I was actually this close to going to the hospital that Thursday, but then I was like, oh, I know what I did. If you want support going through hormonal changes, even if you're having a histamine dump and you want some support, you can join the Peri Collective and we can support each other there and talk about the foods we miss. See you next time.